Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this beautiful country that you're in. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid, and you're watching Rebel Roundup, our daily news and opinion show. It has a couple different styles throughout the week. And I'm joined today by my friend Tamara Ugolini in an entirely different time zone in Cobourg, Ontario. Tamara, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks, Sheila. How are you doing?
Good. It's harvest. Everybody's very, very busy around
Mm.
here, and lots of runs to the parts store. So that's my job in all of this. Is I just am the parts girl
Never
for
a dull moment.
for the entire neighborhood, apparently. So it's a very, very busy day here at Rebel News, and there's so much to talk about. Toronto seems like it's descending into Mogadishu, and we're going to talk about that. It feels like an entirely different country to the
Yeah.
place that I live, and God willing, that may be true one day. But we've got a lot to talk about, and more than anything, I feel very terrible for law-abiding people just trying to live their lives in parts of this country, Toronto in particular. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of political will to do anything to keep anybody safe there. And we're going to talk about that because the cops have really outdone themselves this time. They managed to outdo their advice to tell you to leave your keys out for the burglars. This is a new one. But we'll tell everybody how they can get involved in the show. Because I feel like a lot of you are going to have a lot to say about this. And if you are in Toronto, I want to hear I want to hear from all of you, but particularly people who are living in the failed state of the GTA. I want to hear what it's like there. So if you are watching us on Rumble, you're supporting a great free speech platform. And if you'd like to support us, you can leave a Rumble rant. That's our paid chat if it's over the $5 US cutoff. It's mandatory. We'll read it on air. If it's under that, we'll do our very best to get to it, but sometimes you get booted out of the studio. And if you are watching us on YouTube, where we remain strangely remonetized over there, you can leave a super chat. Same rules apply. And if you are watching the recorded version of the live stream, you can't tune in live, but you are moved by what we are saying to donate to the little network that could, you can leave a paid comment. It's called a super thanks. And we just appreciate you so much for choosing us. We know times are tight. The government is picking your pocket harder than ever. So the fact that you would choose out of the goodness of your heart to support us, it really means a lot to us. Um, okay, let's get into it.
Yeah. I
Uh,
love, I just want to point out, I love that you said the little network that could. That is such a great descriptor for
yeah,
Rebel News. I'm going to steal that one and use it more. That is, I really like that
it's
one.
us. It's
Yeah,
us. I
it's
mean,
true.
we're just
Chugga, chugga,
this.
chugga, chugga.
Exactly. We're just this tiny little shop. Most of us are like you and I, we're working out of little corners of our own homes. And we are doing the work the mainstream media refuses to do
Yes.
and speaking to far more eyeballs frequently than the mainstream media has watching them. So that's all possible through our viewers at home. And we couldn't do any of this without them. So we just, all the thanks goes to them. Uh, Toronto.
Oh, what a
Hell,
mess.
it's a hellscape. Tell us all about it, Tamara.
Well, yeah, I try to avoid. So I'm telling it from the distance of just outside of the GTA. But I was explaining to my children yesterday the wonders of urban sprawl and how a lot of these concentrated big city issues are now quite literally sprawling out into smaller communities. And so just within the GTA, within the last 2 weeks, I count almost a dozen shootings or other violent offenses that have occurred. And so, post string of violent offenses and a string of shootings and other really disturbing home invasions and situations, the York Regional Police Chief, Jim McSween, came out and basically told you that if your home is being invaded, just comply with the perpetrator or else, really. Let's have a listen. We'll come back for some comments on
Yeah.
this. It's crazy.
Premier can make his own statement and his own mind up about that. What I would say is, as a police service, we'll follow the laws as they're written. If the laws change, we'll change with the laws. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply. As you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations. will allow for those that are victimizing members in the community to leave and not harm anyone. It sometimes can fall on deaf ears when members feel like they have to take matters into their own hands. And the only thing I'd say is, if we are going to rely on our community members to take matters into their own hands to solve this problem, we have all failed our community. I've been down at Queen's Park. I've provided comments on bail reform. So have many of my colleagues across the GTA. And here we are again talking about it. And it seems like in some cases, right, we have not moved the needle collectively. Because this is not just a police issue. Unfortunately, when it becomes our issue, it's too late. So we need to do something about this issue around bail and about keeping those people off the streets that shouldn't be on the streets.
Okay, the first part is madness, and the second part makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's such an inversion of one thing to the next. It was so weird.
Yeah, I'm sure the family of Abdul Alim Faruqi, the man who was killed in his Vaughan home, defending his child, appreciates the posthumous lecture from these cops about how he should have been just a better listener to the marauding home invaders. Like, yes, the problem is bail reform. The problem is the removal of mandatory minimum sentences for a whole host of gang-related crimes, because the Liberals said it was a reflection of systemic racism, which is insane because these offenders go out and then they offend largely in minority neighborhoods where they come from. They tend to offend close to home, so it's systemic racism to keep releasing the bad guys into the minority neighborhoods. But what do I know? I'm not a fancy liberal who cares about this sort of stuff. I care about people not being killed in their own homes. And he is right. Like, bail reform is a problem. Why don't you name the names of the people who have changed the bail and sentencing laws in this country? Name them by name. Name the Liberals. Name Bill Blair. Talk about Gary Ananda Sangari and how he's not doing anything. Instead, there's a reason why people feel like they have to take matters into their own hands, because nobody else is doing anything. Nobody else is doing anything.
Well, and also call out Justice Minister, Attorney General of Canada, Sean Fraser, and his ridiculous rhetoric on social media in response to Pierre Poilievre calling out the crime wave, the disastrous chaos that is unleashing on Canadian streets, highlighted if you just search the last 2 weeks in the GTA, it's right there in your face. The proof is in the pudding. There's no ignoring this anymore. And instead of calling out Sean Fraser, I don't know if we can pull up his post on X where he says, "This isn't the Wild West.
Yeah.
This is Canada." And it's like, well, actually, Canada's really starting to seem like the
lawless.
Wild West. Yeah, where lawlessness and outlaws rule the streets, and you're left basically to your own devices. If Jim McSween, York Regional Police Chief, has anything to do with it, it's like, just ask the intruder what they want for a beverage while they're invading your home, and sit back and try to relax, so hopefully you don't get caught in the crossfire. I mean, this is such an inversion to the advice that you typically receive from police or others. When you're faced with an attack, fight for your life, right? It was always the advice. It was like, fight back as vigorously and aggressively as you can, because that is going to better your chance of being too difficult. The perp will give up, hopefully, and say, whoa, this is a bit too crazy. I didn't really sign up for this kind of self-defense. And instead of doing that, we're telling people, take a self-defense class, or, learn how to secure your home, your property, yourself, your belongings, have an emergency plan in place. Like, there's well, just comply with their wishes and hope that you get out scot-free. This is madness.
Leave your keys at the front door and put your TV in the back seat of your car, so that when they take the car, they don't have to, the TV's already there. These dirtbags breaking into people's homes, killing fathers as they try to defend their children. they might think twice if they knew that Canadians had a right to defend themselves by any means necessary in their homes. But instead, we've got a government hell-bent on spending whatever money it takes to disarm us, by the way. So not only do we not have a right to defend ourselves, but they're making sure we don't have the tools in our possession to do it, because they're criminalizing what we do as opposed to what these bad guys do. It's over and over again. We hear once they finally arrest these guys, they are out on bail, or they are recently released from an excessively short sentence. And there they are again, just off in the community, wreaking havoc. Poilievre, at the beginning of the campaign, he was sort of mocked for pointing out that, frankly, it's a very small number of people committing all the crimes. But they seem to be out on the street being allowed to do this. And here we are, we're seeing it over and over again. And the Durham Regional Police, they absolutely gave it to Sean Fraser, but this isn't the Wild West. We're beyond the Wild West. We are in Chicago zone, heading over towards failed state Mogadishu kind of stuff. They said, this isn't the Wild West, it's Canada, not so sure, Minister. When bullets are flying in open spaces at all different directions, having the potential to strike completely innocent individuals, or an 8-year-old is struck by a stray bullet from a shootout while asleep in their bed, or a youth murdered in an open and full public food court washroom, it actually does resemble the Wild West. I actually think it's worse than the Wild West, because the Wild West had sheriffs and everybody in the Wild West had guns. So if a bad guy just like sauntered into the saloon, there was going to be at least a shootout. But instead, Canadians are butchered in their homes. You say Canadians need real solutions that make us safer, not slogans that inspire fear and chaos. The fact is, your government, I hate when I see grammar mistakes.
Same, I caught that one too.
Oh, guys, your government has been in place for a decade and offered no concrete solutions or actions to fix problems that are ever increasing. In fact, you have offered empty promises and excuses that favor the offenders rather than the victims of crimes. Vigilantism is not the answer. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it is the next logical step of people who feel like they will not be protected. And he said, please show us what you mean when you say that Canadians will see real solutions and effective changes to laws, not just more empty promises.
Yeah, I mean, where was York Regional Police Chief during this Durham Region Police Association's post to X? I mean, that is the kind of thing that's going to get attention, that's going to get the Liberals and hopefully Justice Minister Sean Fraser saying, whoa, this is not a good look, right? I'm obviously extremely out of touch. I have a whole security detail, so I'm up here in my ivory tower, Laurentian elite dwelling, out of touch to what's happening on the streets and to the average everyday Canadian who has to now buckle up and prepare for an invasion of such a magnitude that it could quite literally be life or death. I mean, this is craziness. And I mean, and Doug Ford, he's up there politically posturing himself and puffing out his chest saying, we can't stand for this, and trying to align himself with the little guy who has to now worry about securing their home and their property against armed invaders who will be released out on bail before they can even have a nap. And he's really the guy at the helm that could be making changes, that could be doing, tangible things to increase the provincial laws. And I guess it's Ford after all. So there's a lot of talk and very little action.
Yeah, I keep pointing this out, but this doesn't happen in Alberta. Now, maybe it's because a lot of us have firearms in our homes, but since 2021, so the law was changed, by the way. There's a burglar in Winnipeg who's suing the store staff of this. I'll go back a little. He broke into, I guess, a staff room, or he stole a coat from this store. It was one of the staff, it sounds like. He went outside and tried to steal the car. So he stole the jacket with the keys in the pocket, went outside, tried to steal the car. The staff, this is talk about workplace culture. They all went outside and kicked the crap out of this guy. The burglar is suing the store for injury and PTSD. Now, in Alberta, you can't do that. We had a dirtbag who was winged by a farmer for trying to, I think, it was steal the farmer's truck while he was home alone with his toddler daughter. Shot the guy. And the guy in Alberta tried to sue the farmer. And Jason Kenney, one of the rare good things that he did, so I like to point it out, he changed the law. Said you like you're get hurt in the commission of a crime. Who cares? Like, who cares? You can't sue people here. And fast forward to 2021, we really haven't seen anybody charged for defending themselves in their home in Alberta. So it is up to the political will of the government of the day. So in Red Deer, a guy came into the house. He was sleeping in the guy's bed, and the homeowner ultimately, at the end of the incident, shot the guy dead. And the cops are like, clean kill, no charges, carry on with your life. Thank you for your civic duty. And we haven't, in 4 years, that's sort of set the precedent for how things are going to be in Alberta, given that the Liberals have caused a crime wave in this country. So if, the Crown prosecutors are under the purview of the province. So this really does hang squarely around Doug Ford's neck. You don't have to charge people for defending themselves. He just is. He's out of one side of his mouth complaining about the feds and the bail laws and catch and release and tiny sentences. All true. All of that is true. But you're the guy who could actually do something about it closer to home while we wait for a conservative government, perhaps one day, maybe. But he's not. He just doesn't do anything.
Well, and all of this has really come to a head following the Lindsay story, where 44-year-old Jeremy McDonald, father, was awoken in the night to an armed intruder known to police already out on bail. Like the story just writes itself. It's the same thing over and over, textbook, same stuff. And he's now facing serious criminal charges as a result of defending himself and his home against an armed intruder who is known to police and out on bail himself. And so now that you see a string of similar attacks, fatalities, where people are not similarly defending themselves against the intruder and suffering the ultimate consequence with their life, it begs a lot of questions about, are we going to strengthen those laws, and when are we going to see real changes? Because you have people dying after their homes are breached, and violent offenders are coming into their homes. And then you have the one guy who defended himself against this madness, and he is also being charged criminally for doing so. This is Banana Republic stuff. We have, like, literally, you can just Google Toronto stabbings, Toronto shootings, and in the last 2 weeks, there is countless. I mean, maybe that's a report in and of itself. Just let's break down how many shootings and stabbings there have been in the GTA in the last 2 weeks. Like, I'm not going a year, 6 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, 14 days. And as I mentioned before, like that urban sprawl is trickling out to other communities. Well, we have another incident where this was posted by Larry Brock, who's the shadow minister for justice.
He could be our justice minister right now, save for the way people in the East vote.
Yes.
They took this from us.
Yeah. And so he's posted about this Guelph occurrence where an elderly woman was left unconscious and with life-threatening injuries after a brutal attack in downtown Guelph. So this is just outside of the GTA. And a man is now being charged with attempted murder. But I love that Gary Brock points out here, but Sean Fraser says that this isn't the Wild West, and yet our seniors are being targeted in broad daylight on our streets. And they don't believe that. And then, I was looking up, as I said, you can literally just Google shooting, stabbings in Toronto. There was one, I think it was the end of July, where a 14-year-old stabbed this elderly woman while
Oh my
trying,
God.
this was in Toronto, but he stabbed this elderly woman trying to steal her car, just like because they had to go do some errands or something. I mean, these are 14-year-old kids. He says he didn't mean to kill the woman, but she did die. She succumbed to her injuries, and it was
Right.
so aggressive that he killed, I think she was 71 or something like this. So,
Yeah.
again, these are textbook, like it's happening repeatedly over and over again. Same story, same thing. And the perps back out on the streets before you can even say boo. Yeah, here it is. The 14-year-old charged in fatal stabbing of a Toronto senior. And this poor woman was literally just out getting her groceries in the morning. This was like in the day, again, another daytime unprovoked elderly attack. This is so disturbing. And I never thought, this would be the country or the province or the town that or city that I would be raising a family in. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would be here today in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, I think, systemic cultural problems with this country right now, where we have old ladies being beaten in the streets, and we've got 14-year-olds beating old ladies in the street or stabbing old ladies. And if I recall correctly, that young man, sort of bragged about it. Like,
Yeah, the thug.
I mean, there's something deeply wrong with the soul of this country, I think. Convince me it's not an existential battle between good and evil of the biblical sort happening on the ground in this country right now.
And there's another 12-year-old boy just last month who is charged with attempted murder in Markham. So again, in the GTA, 12 years old.
12 years old, facing attempted murder charge after shooting in Markham last month, police announced Wednesday.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to finish the story here. York Regional Police found officers found a man with gunshot wounds after they responded to reports of the shooting at 5:20 in the afternoon. So broad daylight. The man was rushed to hospital with injuries that were not life-threatening. That's because the kid's a bad shot. At the time of the shooting, the 12-year-old boy, this I think was what you were going to say, from Toronto, was on release orders after being charged with unrelated violent offenses.
Same story.
Yeah. He can't be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, even though he's obviously a danger to the public. Why was he out? Like, you can hold these kids in a youth facility. They don't need to be out. Now a guy is shot, and by the skin of his teeth, he's not dead. The kid was arrested and charged with attempted murder, discharging a firearm with intent, possession of property obtained by a crime, possession of a firearm knowing its possession is unauthorized, and 2 counts of failing to comply with a release order. But again, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
I'm the problem. Me and my lawfully acquired firearms, we're the problem here, not the teen gangsters in Toronto.
And as I said, same story. Released on bail, repeated offender, history of offenses, history of criminality, history of violence. The one Welland story where I believe it was a 3-year-old.
It's one of the worst
molested
things I've ever read.
in their bed, sleeping at night.
Yeah.
And the guy, girl, he, she, they, them, whatever it is that flavor of the day that he's identifying as now, had a prior offense of sexual assault on a minor in 2021. So just 4 years ago.
He got 12 months.
Was supposed to have 18 months, got out 6 months early, likely on good behavior, if you can say such a thing, and reoffends within he was released in March. We're in last week of August, September. I mean, can we not all recognize the pattern that's happening here and take some finally decisive action to deal with this problem? It's repeat, same story, same pattern. Yeah, this doesn't seem like rocket science to me.
Right. And according to that police chief, if the dad walked in on the offending in
Yeah.
that instance. He should just comply. As I said to Lise
No.
yesterday, I would rather be the dad who died defending his child than the dad who has to live with what happened to his child there and my child not be hurt. Like I just can't even imagine the horrors that that family is going through right now. And completely failed by the justice system. And if I am to believe Ron Chinzer on X, sounds like because this guy, Daniel Seneca, Danny Seneca has identified as transgender. And to be clear, he did identify before his offending, but I can't tell if it's before his offending, but after he got out of jail. It's sort of like he knew he was going back to jail, right? Because now, if I'm to believe what Ron Chinzer is reporting on X, and I feel like he's in the know, that because he has identified as transgender, now he's being held in jail like in custody. He's in segregation, and because he's, according to Justin Trudeau's changes to the justice system, technically a female, and so women have to search him and handle him in the prison. So he gets to victimize the women who are working in, not the prison, excuse me, the jail now too. So just finally figured it out. Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, scroll down and you'll see the pronouns are she, her. There it is.
Oh, great.
Yeah, finally figured it out, but yeah, didn't figure out how to be just a normal law-abiding person that doesn't target sleeping toddlers. Like that is the most horrendous, disturbing, disgusting thing. It's a parent's worst nightmare. And this family has to deal with and reel with the lifelong trauma of this event. And this guy, who knows, he'll be, by the looks of things, if he even gets sentenced, yeah, he'll be out in a year, maybe.
Couple of years,
if we're lucky.
Off to a women's prison where women are there with their babies.
Oh, well, he's Indigenous, Sheila, so he'd actually be going to a healing sweat lodge.
He's getting a sentencing circle. Just before we take a break, let's just touch on this. It's breaking within the last hour. It's from Manitoba. RCMP dealing with a mass casualty event at Hollow Water First Nation. One person is dead and 6 were taken to hospital after a mass stabbing. Okay, I was worried this was a shooting because that would mean another gun grab. And I hate that I have to think that way when people are being attacked, but it is just the way of the Liberal government. The attacker is also dead. So Manitoba RCMP said in a news release, our officers are gathering information to determine what exactly occurred this morning, and we will be providing a more detailed update early this afternoon, police said. A code orange alert was issued for the Winnipeg hospital. It means they've got lots coming. Shortly after receiving reports of a mass casualty event in Hollow Water, which is located about 200 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg. A code orange is when the hospital needs to prepare for a sudden influx of patients. It said they closed the road in both directions at Black River First Nation early this morning. So more to come. We don't really know what's happening there, but this is welcome to the new Canada.
Right. And I just wanted to point out, just to kind of button up the segment, that the Conservatives have launched a Defend Your Home initiative. And so Polyev reposted the ridiculous comments by York Regional Police Chief. And he says, it's complete chaos. After 10 years of soft on crime Liberals, Canadians should not be punished for defending their own family and home against violent intruders, and then calls on people to sign if they agree. It's a Defend Your Home initiative, and basically says that Canadians deserve the right to defend their loved ones, their property, and themselves. He and the Conservatives will value your right to life and believe you deserve the right to defend yourself, and to sign up and stand up for that right to defend your home if you agree.
Yeah, Canadians deserve the right to not be re-victimized by the state after they've been victimized by the criminals whose crime spree has then been enabled by the state. Canada's just a mess, and it's fascinating to see how the Americans are just sort of shocked at the crappy advice the cops are giving us and the fact that we're arresting people for defending themselves.
Well, I could go on and on because there was that, I forget if it was a police chief or someone in the States last week who put a video out and was like, take a self-defense course, learn how to use your gun, be prepared, be ready, call police, but you have to take that initiative and prepare yourself in the event of a home invasion. And so like they're recommending, and I think the police were even, I'm not sure if we can pull that clip up, but I believe if I remember correctly, they were even hosting self-defense classes and telling people where they could take them so that they were prepared in the event of a home invasion. So just that contrast between what Canadian police are telling you, leave your key fobs at the front door, leave your door unlocked, just like welcome them in, have some hors d'oeuvres ready to go. And then in America, they're like, get ready, have some self-defense courses, know how to use a weapon, be prepared.
Can I tell you that I just want to show you a couple of things, and I know we're late for an ad break, but do you, and friends out there, if you don't, please do, because they are just, when I'm feeling down about the state of Canada, I go to Grady Judd's YouTube page. Grady Judd is the Polk County, Florida sheriff. And I love that guy so much. He's always he's the guy telling the citizens, get trained, we'll help you get trained. In Polk County, we encourage you to shoot the bad guys. And I'm like, yes. Also, you have scary things in the swamps there, so you should probably have a weapon with you. But Grady Judd says Americans are justified in using deadly force during a carjacking, which is, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, if a gangster is holding you up at gunpoint, I think, yeah, sure, shoot back. Let's see this. Look at Grady Judd. You know what? This is why we should elect sheriffs, because this guy, I think, would be sheriff for life in Alberta. Let's go.
Sheriff, you're not allowed to use deadly force for a property crime. Why do you say he would have been justified in killing him?
First off, he tried a carjacking with a lady. And then he was doing a burglary of a vehicle. And he was in the string of a group of felonies at the time. When you start trying to carjack somebody's car at a gas station, you're subject to get shot, and shot a lot.
Did he have a weapon?
She doesn't have to have a weapon, brother. You can carjack with just pure violence and force.
You don't think that's a dangerous message you're putting out?
That is an absolute correct message I'm putting out to Polk County citizens. You try to break into somebody's car and steal it while they're there with it, that's called armed carjacking.
Some attorneys would disagree with you, but you're the sheriff, so.
If you come to this county and if you use extreme violence to try to carjack somebody from their car, if you get shot, that's on you.
Sheriff, you're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
I think is this the same one? No. Let's just show one more, just one more Grady Judd, so that we can go Grady Judd versus the York Regional Police Chief. More Grady Judd, please, in the world.
Listen, that's a bunch of hooey. That soft and cuddly feeling, we're going to hug a thug, and if we give them, another popsicle and an icy and a day out at the park, they're going to be good. Y'all need to wake up. These dudes are taking y'all for fools. These are hardcore gangsters, gangbangers. They'll eat your ice cream on Saturday and shoot up the rivals on Saturday night.
Yeah, he knows who
What
the
a
bad
difference.
guys are. I love him.
I
just
found the
love him.
clip. It's only 26 seconds, so it's just a quick, easy one. But I found the clip. It comes from out of Florida, the Florida sheriff telling people not only like to actually shoot at home invaders, but that they encourage it and they offer free courses every other weekend. Listen to this.
Take me there.
Person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday, And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money. Person, we don't know.
Boom. Save the taxpayers money.
I know, again, now that you've given me the opportunity to showcase my favorite police chief in the world, Grady Judd, to the rest of you, how Grady Judd publicly shames and drags cross-sex offenders. We don't have to show like a minute of it, but let's just the first couple of minutes. And I think it's about offenders. It's part of a human trafficking investigation. So don't feel bad for these guys. These are the worst of the worst. Just Grady, take it away.
When he walks in, you think, well, I have set up a deal with an ugly woman. And I think you would all agree that this guy's an ugly woman, right? This is what you really get when the makeup comes off. This is Jason Bathurst. Oh. Now I want you to think about this a minute, okay? You decide that you're going to hook up with a woman. She comes in, and she's already uglier than a mud fence, right? And then, as you start to engage, you find out, hey, this dudette is a dude, and look what he really looks like. Yeah, he looks like he should have been in a Scarface movie someplace. I don't know. Oh, this is what's happening. People think they're getting this, and many times they're getting a really bad guy. So this is the before and after. You know,
I think that's enough. But the point is, would you think twice about breaking the law in Polk County when you have Grady Judd, who will publicly make fun of you in a press conference where he's got a lot of YouTube followers, because people like me are like, what kind of terrible things is Grady Judd going to say about the bad guys today? I can't wait. He gives them the mockery that they deserve. So, the man is just a joy. Anyway, thank you for indulging me. I feel a little bit like Ezra where he goes off on a tangent there. We should hit an ad break.
Yes.
And then come back.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us. Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA hats to introduce, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
All right. We'll read this quick ad here from Juvenon Blood Flow. Are you feeling tired, sluggish, or foggy? Because it could be poor blood flow. Blood Flow 7 by Juvenon is scientifically designed to support healthy circulation so you can feel energized, clear-headed, and vibrant again. Packed with natural ingredients like nitrozyene S7 and trans-resveratrol, Blood Flow 7 works by boosting nitric oxide levels, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, helping your blood flow freely to every corner of your body. That means more oxygen and nutrients to your brain, heart, muscles, and even places that need a little extra help as you age. With just one dose a day, you can reclaim your stamina, support heart health, and improve overall vitality, all without caffeine or stimulants. Try Blood Flow 7 today and feel the difference where it matters most, inside your veins. visit bloodflow7.com/rebel. Again, that's bloodflow7.com/rebel for 10% off of your purchase. All right, maybe we should hit some of these super
Headliners.
chats.
Oh yeah, let's hit the super chats and then
just to
we'll
get caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Nana Wake, regular donor, regular viewer of the show. She's one of those people that we could not survive without. Nana Wake gives us $10 and says, yet another Carney missed opportunity for Canada with Russia turning off natural gas to the EU. Yeah. Yeah. You know, but they won't shut up about Russia, but they created a market for Russia and Gazprom to take up all the space that should have been offset with Canadian natural gas into the EU. So after his recent visit, we should be securing the provision of 45% of the EU. The EU is short, but Canada gets zero. Yeah. Yeah. JT Homa 8318 gives us $10 and says, so the idiot Ford poured out a bottle of Crown Royal Canadian whiskey to boycott it. It says right on the bottle, good luck on secession. You know, we're going to do our best. Yeah, Doug Ford poured out whiskey that is made in Gimli, Manitoba. It's just so, you know, like who helped Doug Ford with that? Like who's advising Doug Ford to pull these stunts? I actually think they might not like him. Because who's letting him do this? If I were somebody who didn't like Doug Ford, I would get in his inner circle and sabotage him from within. And that's what it looks like here.
He looks like an unhinged lunatic. Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah. A 60-pounder of Crown Royal, he just pours out on the ground. He couldn't even effectively pour it out. And I see Dominic LeBlanc has reacted. We have this clip to his friend, of course, Premier Ford pouring out Crown Royal and the federal government's elbows down approach to the U.S. trade war with Trump. Maybe we can show that.
I also wanted to ask you about Doug Ford and Premier Ford. I know you're tight with, who did his Crown Royal viral moment and worried.
Did it go viral? It went on his shoes. I saw that.
Yeah, it went viral for the wrong reason.
Elbows down now. He wants to keep fighting. He's taking a more aggressive approach. Is this actually helping your cause, or should he maybe step back a little bit?
And your second question was about Premier Ford. So I saw his news conference earlier this week. Premier Ford is effectively and articulately standing up for workers in his province of Ontario. That's something that our government is absolutely doing. At the same time, we work with Premier Ford and his government. I talk to him, some cases multiple times a week, on things that we can do together to support workers and the economy, in this case in his province of Ontario, but it's the biggest economic partner in our federation. I wouldn't propose to tell Premier Ford how to practice Ontario politics. He's won 3 majority governments. I think he's figured out how to practice Ontario politics, but I enjoy a relationship with him that's cordial and personal. And I really enjoyed watching his news conference on Tuesday, I think it was.
Yeah, of course he did. That was after he was whispering sweet nothings into Mark Carney's ear at the Muskoka Cottage, having some pillow talk.
I mean, and like, does nobody in that press conference know, including Dominic LeBlanc and all the journalists, that Crown Royal was made in Gimli? Like, are we just skipping over that? I enjoyed watching it, and he's articulate and effective.
Yeah.
No, not even close. What is effective about what Doug Ford is doing? He's being antagonistic with the Americans, and the Americans are going to continue to do their best to crush the Ontario economy. And for a second, could you even imagine Dominic LeBlanc saying such nice things about Danielle Smith, who has won 2 majority governments here in Alberta?
That's right. Yeah. And Doug Ford, I mean, majority, but based on 44, I think it was 44% of Ontario voters actually came out in the last election. So if you want to call that a majority, I mean, sure, technically, maybe it's not.
Yeah, like you would never hear him say, well, we wouldn't presume to tell Danielle Smith how to run Alberta. She's won 2 majority governments and she's negotiated a far better trade arrangement with the Americans than any other premier in this country. He would never say those things. He would never say, look, she's articulate and effective in what she's doing. And the fact remains that she is. Just, you know, the proof is in the pudding. But he would never say those nice things about her. It's because Doug Ford is a liberal in a blue tie.
And probably one of the least articulate people I have ever heard speak in terms of a politician. Someone messaged me the other day and they were like, did Doug Ford even complete college? And
I don't know.
It's like, I don't know, actually. Maybe that's worth looking into.
And I don't think you have to, but
no,
he just, I mean,
I can't tell
if he's fake folksy or if he's just not smart. Like, I just don't know. I can't tell. Ben Bankus is better at being Doug Ford than Doug Ford is at being Doug Ford. It's the craziest thing. We've got a couple more chats here, and then we'll get into the headliners here. Alex Greer gives us $2.99, and there's no real chat there.
A little pear. It says, "Hey, you."
Is it a pear? Or is it an avocado?
Oh, I think it's a pear.
I think it's a pear. Then he says, "Call out the militia."
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. If we were armed, but that's not cool. Jay Peterson gives us $10 and says, is it time for this 3 strikes law? I think so. Yeah, I do too. But instead the liberals did exactly the opposite. They're like, oh, gangbangers, you're being overrepresented in the justice system. That's because they commit all the crimes, but don't let that get in the way of it. And so they removed the mandatory minimum sentences for gang-related offenses. And then what happened? Gang violence exploded? Huh.
Who would have thought?
Who saw that coming? We've got YP. Oh, that's Yankee. Gives us $2 and says swamp puppies are cool.
Yeah.
The alligators. I'm terrified of them. Politicians Never Lie gives us 222 and says Melissa Lantsman, number 1. She's very good on a lot of issues, on the anti-Semitism stuff too. All right. I'll let you pick what we need to talk about.
Yeah, well, let's get to the headliners because we're quickly running out of time. And I really want to get also to our daily dose of cringe, which I was tempted to do at the first segment, but
I'm glad we'll saving it. Yeah,
we'll save it for the end. All right. So we have the temporary foreign worker program mayhem that's unfolding between Poilievre and Carney. So recently, and this actually has more recently come to a head, but it's been an ongoing saga. The failure, the abuse, the fraud, the exploitation of foreign workers under the liberal administered temporary foreign workers program. And I did a report on it a couple of days ago, and I might source back to one of the hyperlinks from that report. But basically, shortly thereafter, when I called out this program for the fraud, mismanagement, exploitation, et cetera, and primarily also undermining Canadian workers in the workforce, and especially the young Canadians who we see are experiencing record unemployment in this country, to have the opportunity to get their foot into the workforce through these entry-level jobs that are being scooped up and capitalized on by the temporary foreign worker program. And there's a whole bunch of things going on at the same time. But anyway, Pierre Poilievre has recently called on the Liberals to permanently end this program, to open up that opportunity and put it back into the hands of young and upcoming Canadians. So it's about a 2.5-minute clip. Maybe we won't play all of it, but I think it is important to show Poilievre's own words.
The Liberals have to answer. Why is it that they're shutting our own youth out of jobs and replacing them with low-wage temporary foreign workers from poor countries who are ultimately being exploited? And let us say as well, the people, the individual temporary foreign workers, the workers themselves, they are not bad people. They are not the problem. They are being taken advantage of by liberal corporate elites who want to use them to drive down wages. And of course, we continue to support the dream of all immigrants to Canada, immigrants who come here to be Canadian, to get a job, work hard, contribute, and live a good life. That is part of the Canadian promise, and that is not what we're addressing here today. We're addressing a program that temporarily brings people from low-wage countries to replace Canadians and drive down the wages of our people. The time has come for decisive action. to stop the Liberals from using our immigration system to pad the pockets of corporate elites and other insiders at the expense of Canadian jobs. Again, the principle is very simple. The principle is very simple. Canadian jobs for Canadian workers. Canada first, Canada always. That's why Conservatives are calling on the Carney government to permanently...
So they call on him to permanently scrub this program, and then Carney immediately is like, oh, I speak to all these business owners around the country, and their number one issue is tariffs, followed by having more access to temporary foreign workers. Yeah, because his Brookfield bros, they really want to capitalize on that cheap foreign labor that Poilievre is calling out.
I bet they love having access to workers who don't know about labor standards and whose salaries are subsidized by the government. I bet they love not having to pay a Canadian a fair wage. And look, I'm not somebody who believes that there should be a minimum wage. Actually, I feel like the market should sort of set itself, and you should be able to negotiate with your employer what you think you're worth, both them and you. I don't think, like a high school kid should be making $15 an hour to work 3 hours a week, doing next to nothing. I don't believe that. But this stuff drives wages down, and the wages are subsidized. So Canadians are paying for this twice. And Canadian kids, but also not just Canadian kids, but vulnerable people who take these entry-level jobs to actively participate in their community, they don't get those jobs either. So they're just warehoused into their homes or into some sort of program. Instead of being able to actively participate as a productive member of their community, vulnerable people don't get these jobs either. So we're hurting a generation of people, but also people who are frequently forgotten about or left behind in society in favor of a slave underclass. Anyways, let's listen to Mark Carney tell us that Tim Hortons needs more people. I've got a little strategy that I've been personally using to deal with my non-participation in this system. But let's listen to Mark Carney first.
Mr. Poilievre called this morning on the government to scrap the temporary foreign worker program. Is it time to shut the program down?
Well, I would say the following, which is that that program has a role. It has to be focused in terms of its role. And it's part of what we're reviewing. It's part of what we will be discussing, how well the temporary foreign worker program is working and how our overall immigration system is working. We've been absolutely clear as a government that we want, and we're putting in place policies so that the overall level of immigration as a proportion of the population will decline from around 7% today to around 5% several years from now. Now, the biggest contributor to immigration is not temporary foreign workers. It's a variety of other factors. And I will say, je vais répéter en français parce que c'est important, when I talk to businesses around the country, particularly in Quebec, but elsewhere across the country,
Brookfield bros.
Their number one issue is tariffs, and their number two issue is access to temporary foreign workers. Okay?
Sickening.
Wow. Et pour le moment, c'est une des grandes demandes du gouvernement.
I just want to point out that
this
this comes just a couple days after I did a report on exposing the foreign worker program for scandals, exploitation, and fraud. So if you want to go watch that full report, you can. But in there, I link to a 2021 document published by the Liberals titled, I think it was Temporary Foreign Worker Misuse. They know that this is happening. This is from 2021. So they've known for 4 years this is happening. And page 40 specifically of that document details all the ways in which wage suppression is being facilitated and workers are being exploited under this program. So there's things like coercion, work permits have expired, where the foreign workers actually are paying the employer to cover the cost of obtaining those permits. And if they don't, they're threatened with, they won't get the permit and then they'll be deported back. So there are all these fraudulent schemes happening under this program. And again, this is from the government's own report in June of 2021. They know this is happening. They've known for 4 years, and they have done absolutely nothing to stop or at least mitigate the issues that are happening here. Instead, they just continue to proliferate. And in the file of a broken clock being right twice a day, we have this post just within the last half an hour from Katie DeRosa on X. She is a CBC legislative reporter. She says that actually British Columbia's premier, notoriously far left, Premier David Eby, actually agrees with Pierre Poilievre that the temporary foreign worker program needs to be canceled or reformed, and accuses Ottawa of overseeing an immigration program that fills up our homeless shelters and food banks and takes jobs from young Canadians. There you have it. Proof is in the pudding. They've known for years, and Mark Carney is going to get up there on his little soapbox and say that, oh, businesses actually want more of this. Yeah, because they're the guys that are profiting from it. It is absolutely disgusting.
And you know what? On the theme of a stopped clock being right twice a day, back in 2014, the Liberals were against the temporary foreign workers program.
Oh yes, I bookmarked that one.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Justin Trudeau, just being the windsock of politics that he is, just whichever way the wind blows, that's where he goes. In 2014, they were calling for the end of the temporary foreign workers program. But once the Liberals got in power, they ramped it up fourfold. So, I mean, as long as Liberal insiders get rich, who cares what happens to Canadian youth? I guess. It's terrible. It's terrible. And, you know, is that really the thing that everybody's telling Mark Carney about? We need access to temporary foreign workers. Who's saying that? I actually don't believe that anybody has actually said that to him, like a small business owner. I really don't. But my personal way of fighting this is I go to Michelle Rempel's X, and she has this daily thing that she does where she tweets out jobs that are part of the LMIA program. That's the labor market impact assessment. That's the temporary foreign workers permit application thing. She tweets out jobs from jobwatchcanada.com, and then she tells you the places that are hiring temporary foreign workers. And I just make a little mental note to not go to these places. Yeah. If they are on Rempel's list, Sheila doesn't go, because those are places that are choosing this slave labor that hurts the slave, but also the rest of us, that is also propped up through a subsidy program. Those are employers that are choosing that. They don't get my business. I don't know how else to respond to any of this. I mean, it's up to the premiers now to say, we're not doing that here. They could probably say that. But yeah, see, a Booster Juice in Calgary wants to fill a job with a temporary foreign worker for $36.50 an hour.
Yeah, so you're telling me a Canadian couldn't fill that role? Like, this is absurd.
A Canadian 16-year-old would take that job for $15 an hour. If it's a management job, $30 an hour. Easily. But they're not getting the opportunity to even apply. And if you get a Canadian applying and a temporary foreign worker applying, but the temporary foreign worker's salary is subsidized by the federal government, well, why wouldn't you take that person? There's no incentive to hire the Canadian.
Exactly.
We need to incentivize the hiring of Canadians or our permanent residents, and not this temporary foreign worker nonsense. And I'm just making it a point that before I patronize a business, I'm going to do my best to find out if they are part of the temporary foreign workers program.
And you can see the data. There's it is absolutely skyrocketed. LMIA application approval rates have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Under Trudeau, who in 2014 was saying that it was corrupt. So you can, again, the proof is in the pudding. It's all there. The data is there. The stats are there. You can see it for yourself. And I posted this, this one went a little bit viral, where an elementary school in Oakville, Ontario, now it is a private school, so they do play by, some of their own rules, but an elementary school in Oakville, Ontario, I mean, they're applying for LMIA. And so they're basically saying through that application that they can't find a Canadian elementary school teacher willing to pay them $33 to $60 an hour. And so they've posted on that LMIA job bank looking for an elementary school teacher in Oakville, Ontario. And some of the responses, people are like, I'm a teacher in Oakville. I'm out of work. I'll apply. I've applied everywhere. I can't find a permanent job. Why aren't they looking at the list of supply teachers in Ontario who can't get on permanently? So, this is craziness, what's happening.
Maybe they don't want a crazy person teacher. So they're like, maybe we can get somebody from Polk County, Florida to come work here.
Yeah, and Floridians are like, heck no, I'm
thank
good.
you. I'm not going to the war
here.
zone of Ontario. We have to hit the tariff stuff just because it's in the headline. Tamara, I'll let you pick which one we should talk about.
Well, just before we get there, I just want to say thank you to Jay Pedersen, who gives another $10 and notes that according to the government website, in Alberta alone, almost 10,000 temporary foreign workers received a positive LMIA in the quarter April to June 2024. Yeah, it's crazy. I think Ontario takes the cake, though, as usual with immigration stuff. But like I said, the data's all there. Anyone can pull up this stuff. It's public record. So
yeah, one of my things is I'm not getting my oil changed at a place that didn't hire a 16-year-old Canadian of any stripe. But there's no reason why temporary foreign workers are changing my oil. I won't do it.
Yeah.
That's a job for 16-year-old automotive students. Kids are not getting their job skills. We're going to have an entire generation of people who don't know how to work at all. Think about what that does to our economy in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bad. We have to stop this right away.
And on the tariff thing, which Carney says is the number one thing he hears back from businesses next to the LMIA and access to temporary foreign worker program, which I think is just bananas. But anyway, he provided an update and says that, he reiterated his stance that Canada has the best deal with the US through the USMCA, which is set to be renegotiated next summer. But he didn't provide any other insight or update on any new trade agreements or potential better ones, right? He was all campaigning elbows up and we're going to fight against Trump and fight the tariffs. And now he's like, we have the best deal and we have all along. So just stop, please.
This is his excuse for not being able to get anything done with the Americans. Cause he's like, we're going to have a deal by the end of the month. Then he comes into the G7. He's like, we've decided to continue to keep talking. Okay, so you're doing nothing.
Of course.
And then that timeline rolls over, no deal. In the meantime, everybody else is getting a deal with the Americans, figuring it out a way. But we've got our Foreign Affairs Minister, Doug Ford, who won't shut his big mouth. So this is just his way of saying, we're not going to get a deal. We've failed, but don't consider it that. This is fine. Everything's fine.
We actually always had a good deal. I was just campaigning. So
I was just kidding.
Disregard that.
We should show the clip though, and I'll be quiet.
When was the last time that you exchanged messages or you spoke to the U.S. president? And it's been 4 months that you've been texts, messages.
It sounds like you're my teacher and I've been caught.
And it's been 4 months since you've been in government. How much longer do Canadians have to wait to see results from those talks with the U.S. president?
Okay, well, let's go to results. Right now, we have the best trade deal of any country in the world. Okay, those are results.
It's the same one, though.
We think it can be better, and we're working to make it better. But to be absolutely clear, 85% of our trade with the United States is tariff-free. Nobody else is in that position. Our average tariff is about 5.5%. That's the lowest average tariff of any country in the world. So right now we have the best, but we have real issues. Without question, we have real issues in steel, in aluminum, in forest products, in autos, potentially in pharma, copper, some other sectors. So there's these strategic sectors that the U.S. has focused on where we have issues. And as well, there will be a review of CUSMA, our trade agreement with the U.S. and Mexico, starting next year. So we need to prepare for that. We need to lay the groundwork for that review, and we need to address as rapidly as possible these strategic sectors. Okay, so that's the overall context. So we're looking now, given that we've got the best deal, to really focus in on those strategic sectors and prepare the groundwork for that broader discussion on CUSMA. That's what we're doing. I last spoke, exchange messages. I last spoke to the President Monday evening. We spoke at length on a wide range of issues, including on trade, but geopolitical, other issues, labor issues, etc. It was a good conversation. We have a team, a very senior team. The clerk of the Privy Council is there in Washington as we speak.
Yeah, anyway, it's
just goes on and on.
They're having conversations, so you better believe it, because they're talking.
Yeah,
but
we're having conversations, exchanging messages. But don't worry, so if we don't get anything done, it's okay because we already have the best deal. And then he talks about how tariffs are around 5% as an average, right? Some things are tariff free, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that oil is tariffed at about 10%. So that drastically drags the average down. So it's not that he's done a good job. Daniel Smith did the good job, and I would love for him to take the canola tariff seriously, considering the canola industry is much larger than the steel industry. But don't tell Mark Carney and the Liberals that, because canola is only in the West and we don't vote Liberal.
And the gaslighting is just unreal, where it's like literally 2 months, not even 2 months ago, you were campaigning or continuing with your political posturing of, oh, we're elbows up against the Americans. We have to fight against Trump and his tariffs, and we're all in for Canada, and I'm Canada first. And I was like, well, we had the best deal all along. So why would we go and ruin a good thing? And I don't know. I guess Canadians are easily memory hold, but that's what it seems like. Carney, his new political strategy is basically that. Just don't talk about it because we have a good deal, okay? And we're going to talk about it, but just you stop, because you sound like my teacher.
Can you guys just all shut up? We're talking.
We're talking over here. And then Trump, of course, he's really stayed true to his campaign and his campaign promises, which was always to put America first. And so he's bragging that his tariffs are like, he doesn't even have to deal with tariffs because he's bringing manufacturing home. And this is something he campaigned on all along. So it's not surprising that this is where he is.
We have so many car company factories under construction or being designed right now. And they're coming from China, they're coming from Mexico, I must tell you, and they're coming from Canada. A lot of them coming from Canada. But they're coming into our country because they want to build here. And they want to build here for two reasons. Number one, they'd like to be here. And number two, the tariffs are protecting them. And number three, they want to avoid paying tariffs. When they build their cars here, they don't have any tariffs to pay. You know, when you build here, you don't have any tariffs.
There you go. There you have it.
Well, and like I was saying to Lise on the show the other day, we used to have this idea of Alberta, and it worked. It was called the Alberta Advantage. And that's how we stole, half of Saskatchewan when they were living with the Roy Romano NDP. And we had a PC government that was actually conservative under Ralph Klein. We paid down our debt. We had low taxes. We have no provincial sales tax. Cost of living is low. Quality of living is high. And so we sort of strategically positioned ourselves to attract business from other provinces, to sort of not repatriate, but patriate themselves to Alberta, because we made this place an inviting place to start a business, grow a business, and then grow the family of the people who work in the business. And it worked for us. It felt like there was a time where like 1 out of every 2 people were from Saskatchewan because we just stole all their good people. Doug Ford might want to try that. If you are trying to encourage companies to stop moving manufacturing to the United States, you might want to maybe, cut corporate tax, remove some bureaucracy, remove some red tape, talk to your buddy, Mark Carney, about the upstream climate tariff that he's going to put on the steel industry. You have to make it a place where it doesn't make sense to leave. And Doug Ford's not doing that.
No, of course he's not. And that's because he doesn't have to deal with the fallout of any of these disastrous things. Ford has his own private security detail.
Right.
He's not worrying about any of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see that we're a little
past. Yeah.
A little bit past, just a little bit. But I want to end on this daily dose of cringe. And as we were chatting for the better half of the better half of the segment, the crazy advice from York Regional Police Chief that you should just comply with intruders and hope for the best, like hope and prayers when you're faced with an armed, violent criminal coming into your home in the middle of the night. And so we have this hilarious parody satire video to share with you of how you should welcome them into your home when an armed robber arrives at your doorstep.
Hey, get in here. Close the door. I don't want you to get bit by the mosquitoes. So, first of all, thank you so much for choosing my house to rob today. There's so many options. It's a privilege for you to be here. I've got a selection of drinks for you to choose from. Great choice, Fancy Perrier. I like it. Okay, so the kids are upstairs sleeping right now, and if they wake up, it's really going to make this whole experience very unenjoyable for you. So to streamline the process, I've got a few things laid out. I've got a 50-inch 4K for you. I've got a MacBook Air, and I even have a pair of earrings from Peoples gifted to my daughter for her baptism. And really, who needs it more, you or her, am I right? Now, hold on. You look a little familiar. You're the one who took my car last year. I knew I recognized you. I love repeat offenders. So I didn't want to take away the full joy of you robbing my house. So these are just a few items. If you head upstairs to the master bedroom, my wife's jewelry is laid out for you. Take whatever you want. Head downstairs. You'll find my safe wide open for you. Take whatever you want. Now, I'm going to be in the kitchen making myself a sandwich. If you have any questions, feel free to come and join me. What's mine is already yours.
There you have it. It couldn't be any truer.
Yeah, that's it. And, they still might kill you. It's laughable. But we've heard the police give that advice now. Twice. Twice.
They're really outdoing themselves with this advice.
I'm sad. But this is Canada. Before we go, I know we got to sign off because if I'm not doing it, you're doing it at the company. So to have us both tied up on the live stream is a little bit inconvenient for everybody waiting for us to say yay or nay to things. But before we go, I want to invite those of you who are watching right now, if you are in Calgary, to attend our Calgary birthday party. You can go to happybirthdayrebel.com to get tickets and details. There are a couple different tiers of tickets, but if Olivia can bring that up. So September 18th, in Calgary, that's really approaching fast. I want you to get tickets. I want you to celebrate with us because, as I said at the top of the show, without you, there's no Rebel News. So we've survived, not just survived, thrived for 10 years while everybody else was undergoing layoffs, contracting. Just ask Glenn McGregor, how many jobs has that guy had in 10 years? I've had the same one, Glenn. So we want you to celebrate with us. We've got Tamara Leach at Calgary as our musical guest. If you haven't seen her live, you must. All of your favorite Rebels will be there. There'll be music, appetizers. There's a VIP dinner if you're so inclined. Just go to happybirthdayrebel.com to get your tickets. But if you're thinking about it, go get them right away because I'm worried that they're going to sell out and then you're going to be messaging me saying, Sheila, how do I get tickets? And I won't be able to help you because there are fiber code restrictions. And if you are in Toronto, and you feel like you need to celebrate something good in the very bad place that you're in, it's October 16th. And I'm not sure who the musical guest will be. I don't think it's Tamara, but we're working on finalizing some stuff there. But I promise you, outside of that, it's going to be a great time, birthday party. And just, Torontonians, you're in a bad place. It's Toronto. Maybe you can use a little bit of cutting loose and celebrating, and we'd love for you to do that with us. So it's happybirthdayrebel.com for your tickets. Don't think about it, just go get them.
Yep. And like I always say, it's so nice to meet and mingle in person and just to see everyone live and in the flesh. It's a way better experience than doing things virtually. And it's always nice to meet and mingle with our supporters firsthand. I always appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good to be able to thank them in person.
Yes.
For me.
And to chat.
Yeah. It recharges your moral and spiritual battery sometimes to talk to these people, because we're, you know, like we're dealing with awful stuff. We talk about awful stuff all the time.
Yes.
And it's nice to just personally meet the people who make our jobs possible, just to thank them from my family to theirs.
And let loose and have a little fun while we're at it.
That too.
Yes, can't wait. All right. Well, with that, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to everybody behind the scenes who make sure that this stream runs seamlessly and all the links and things and words are there so you can find us. We'll be back same time and place tomorrow, different panel from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, the Rebel Roundup. So until then, stay sane and question everything.